Excuse me, I didn't see you there. That was really bad. That wasn't even a funny joke, huh? Hi guys, so today I wanted to do a video talking about my life homeschooling. I know it was weird because I totally thought that you guys knew I was homeschooled, and it didn't occur to me till my last video when I mentioned that, and people were like commenting and tweeting me saying like, you were homeschooled? And I was like, why yes, I was. Some of you might find that surprising. Some of you, this may make, like, I may make a lot more sense to you now that you know I was homeschooled. Oh, by the way, our special guest from last time did so well that I invited him back to be a guest again because he's so loved, and you did an awesome job. Good job. I'll start with why I was homeschooled. So I was not always homeschooled. I went to a private Christian school in elementary school, but I never really fit in at school. I've kind of always been as weird and artistic as you guys see me being on here. I was weird. I don't know. I started a business in like 4th grade making stationery. I used to make paper shoes and cover them in tape so that they were water resistant and then wear them to school. I have always been really loud and talkative, and it didn't go over very well at school. And you know, a lot of the kids just weren't fans of me. Let's just say that, which, you know, I would probably maybe not have been as much of a fan of myself either, but my heart was always in the right place. Like, I was never a bratty kid who, like, I don't know, like, or an angry or bratty kid. I was just kind of an obnoxious kid at points, or eccentric. But I didn't have the greatest school experience. I was locked in a bathroom once. I had food thrown at me once. And I had some teachers that were not so kind to me. And long story short, I had a teacher in 6th grade who didn't, I don't know, we just didn't get along super well. And long story short, that was the year I left school. My mom was kind of like, well, what's the worst that can happen? We take you out and homeschool you, and if you hate it, then you go back to school. So anyways, long story short, it ended up being the best thing ever. I loved homeschooling. When I left school, I had a really unconventional, like, way of that I was schooled, I guess. My parents' theory was kind of just like, if you study the things you want to study, you're going to be more successful because the things that you like is probably where you're going to, like, thrive, and is probably the field you would be most successful in anyways, rather than pushing something on you. So I wasn't great at math, for example, so I only had to learn the basic math that you have to learn to graduate high school. I wasn't pushed beyond, like, the regular stuff that I needed for the end of high school, but I went above and beyond what I needed to in high school for English and history, because those were things that I really, really enjoyed, and in terms of school subjects and stuff. So I actually ended up taking classes in high school at our local community college. And that's actually how I got out of high school early, between that and then I took a GED test, and I graduated at 16. I feel like this story is like all over the map. Sorry, I'm trying to think of where to piece together like pieces. I took every single history course offered at that school because I liked history so much, and I only took the bare minimum in math because I didn't like it, which, you know, it's okay. I feel like there was no way, because I wasn't good at it and I didn't like it, I was not going to go off to be like a bio, I don't know, like an engineer or something like that. So really, I only needed the stuff to get by in life, to, you know, have a good, you know, keep my balance in my bank account, pay my bills, know basic math. But the other stuff, because it was something I was good at, it made sense to focus on that because that's probably where I was going to go. Now, some of you might be like, well, what did history do for you? But basically, those of you that don't know, I did a lot of theater growing up. I actually did theater as a career until about 2 years ago. And it kind of goes hand in hand with, I just find people's stories and lives very interesting, and I find what makes us, like, what makes people tick and decisions that they make very interesting. And so history, to me, it kind of goes hand in hand, like, with acting, like the same reason that I like acting, because I like knowing people's stories. So I don't know, I really like history. When I was being homeschooled, like, we would spend hours watching the History Channel, and I was never good with dates, but I like in terms of, you know how in school they put a lot of emphasis on memorizing dates? My mom never put emphasis on memorizing dates. It was the stories and the people. And in my opinion, that's what's important, because when in life is someone gonna be like, what date did this happen? But knowing the stories and learning from history and having compassion for other people, and that's like, in my opinion, that's what's important. So the other reason I homeschooled is because, like I said, I really loved to act and sing and dance, and being homeschooled allowed me to do way more of that. I was able to take tons of classes during the day, and being in LA, like there's lots of classes during the day, so I started taking like adult dance classes and adult acting classes and singing classes and stuff like that because I was home during the day. I wasn't at school. So I was able to work my schedule the way I wanted to, and I think it was really awesome for me because A, I like operating that way anyways, and B, I always knew whether it was work or, you know, eventually when I'm a mom one day, like balancing my own schedule was going to be really important for me in my life. Like I've never really had a conventional job. I've always worked like theater and shows and acting and stuff like that, and so it was cool getting to learn that and getting to spend my high school doing stuff that I loved, like studying history and English and dance classes and acting classes and singing classes, and it was so much fun. Now, some of you might be wondering, I have mentioned before prom and homecoming, and some of you might be like, what the heck? I kept a lot of my friends from schools and stuff like that, and I made new friends in theater. So I was able to go to multiple proms at different schools, multiple homecomings, multiple like winter formals and stuff like that, and it was really, really fun. I loved going to dances. That was the only thing I knew I was gonna miss from not going to high school. So it was the one thing that I really made sure, like, I want to go to dances because I loved going to dances. And they were really fun. I went to one too many, I think, multiple. But it was cool. I think my favorite thing about homeschool, other than getting to study the stuff that I liked and learning how to have my own structure in my life and freedom, which literally is, in my opinion, completely addicting if you experience that very young, like having your own structure and your own like schedule. My favorite thing though was, I think, I don't know, learning how to make friends, because I experienced what a lot of my friends experienced when they left high school. I experienced it way earlier because school kind of makes you, or can make you, lazy in terms of making friends because you're forced to be around the same people all the time. So a lot of times I think when people leave high school, they're like, what the heck? They're not used to not seeing their friends every day, and they have to get used to reaching out. Although I will say I think some of that is changing now with social media. It's making it easier, so we're like all connected all the time, but it's kind of still the same. And I experienced that way younger, because when you go from seeing your friends every day to all of a sudden really not anybody, it's like, wait, what the heck? Although I backtrack on that because I was seeing people in dancing classes and singing and acting and stuff, but half the time they were older than me. So I went through a little phase for like a year or two where I was just, I felt kind of lonely, and I remember I had to push out of my comfort zone to make friends, and it was really, really hard, but I learned it so early in life that now it's like never awkward for me to say to someone like, hey, you're really cool, I like you, we should grab like lunch or coffee or something sometime. It's like not awkward to me anymore because I did that already. When I have kids one day, I really want to homeschool them. Ultimately, it'll be their choice, obviously, but I would love to homeschool them. It was amazing. I loved it. Dan was actually homeschooled for a couple years and he hated it, which is why I said it's ultimately the kid's decision. Our kid's decision. But I loved it. We were also homeschooled very differently. That may have been part of it. My homeschooling was much more like free reign, hippy dippy, you know, like my mom's like totally a hippie. So, and his was very structured. His mom is more structured than my mom. So that could have been part of it. I feel like I'm probably going to be a middle ground when I homeschool my kids. Like I have all these things that I want to do and projects and crafts, and I want them to find out what they like, and I want to like teach them how to cook and garden and all that stuff. I'm so lame, but it's exciting me. But ultimately, if they don't want to homeschool, then whatever. They can go to school and I have more hours in the day to do mommy time. So love I'm talking about my unborn children. So no, I'm not pregnant, guys. I think that is it. If you have any questions about like my homeschooling experience, I guess you can leave them in the comment down below. Also, leave requests down below. Also, let me know what schooling was like for you. Like if you're homeschooled, what kind of like what your structure is like, what your school is like, or if you're not homeschooled and you are in regular school, let me know kind of like what your favorite subjects in school are. Like I said, mine is history and English, so I look forward to hearing what your favorite subjects in school were, your schooling experience, all that jazz, and I will see you in the comment section. Bye! Bye! You have such a stubby little arm. Say bye!